Brenda's coming up. We're excited about this. Brenda Clark Hamilton is a lifelong Iowan who has become a nationally recognized speaker, an audience favorite in the areas of leadership, communication skills, and personal excellence. Audiences are quick to note Brenda's engaging, energetic style and her skill at presenting useful take-home strategies in an entertaining way. Get this, she's practical, she's humble, and she's fun. I want to date her. And she inspires audiences to offer the personal best to life, relationships, and career. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Brenda Clark Hamilton.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks, Julie, I love you. I date you, but I'm married, huh?
Oh,
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing a bit from one of my keynotes, which is called Recalculating, Skills for When Life's GPS Takes an Unexpected Turn. And the keynote is all about how do you handle those little irritations and things in life that throw you off track in your day or in your life, significant things, and do that with creativity and wisdom and resilience. So that's what it's about, and I'll be sharing a short portion. I want to start by laying the foundation by giving you what I call the Life Can Be Annoying quiz. So I'm going to read off some statements, and I'd like you to raise your hand if any of these things have happened to you in the last month, okay? Raise your hand if in the last month one of your household appliances has broken down. Raise your hand if in the last month one of your vehicles has needed repaired. If you've had any kind of unexpected household expense in the last month. Raise your hand if in the last month you've sworn at your computer. Yes. If you drove through a fast food restaurant and left and did not get all the food that you ordered, please raise your hand. Something went through the washing machine that clearly should not have. And our last three, raise your hand if in the last month someone annoyed you at work, someone annoyed you at home, someone is annoying you at your table right now. Just so we know. Well, the reality is life has its share of annoyances. My husband Chris and I had a wonderful opportunity to see country music singer Daryl Worley in concert a few years ago. If you're familiar with one of his most famous songs, it's a wonderful song called Sounds Like Life to Me. And in the song, the guy's sitting at the bar with his buddy, and the buddy's going on and on about, man, you just don't get how bad my life is right now. He says, the baby's teething, and I think my wife's pregnant again. And he said, the washing machine's broken down, and my mother-in-law's got to go in the nursing home, and I can't get the hours at work. And he said, you just don't get how bad my life is. And his friend looks at him and says, what? Sounds like life to me. Sounds like a common case of everyday reality. The reality is life does have its share of frustrations. We have a choice in how we're going to respond. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but people actually, studies tell us, want to work with and be around happy people. People want to be in relationships with happy people. They want to be around happy people. Diener and Biswas, Diener share a study in this regard. They took people at the start of the day and they assessed them to understand their level of happiness or unhappiness within their life. And then what they did is they paired them up. They said, okay, you two sit, have a 5-10 minute conversation, you two talk, okay, switch. And everybody randomly had this little 5-10 minute conversations throughout the day. After each individual conversation, they would interview the participants one-on-one. And they'd say, so, Judy, did you like having a conversation with her? Did you like her as a person? Would you like to have another conversation with her? And what the researchers found through the course of that day was there was a very positive, strong correlation between the happiest people in the room being the people who people liked the most and wanted to have another conversation with. If they did get paired up with one of the least happy people in the room, they'd say, well, that was nice. They'd say, would you like to have another conversation with her? And not so much. People want to be around happy people. Another way to say this is from Marshall Goldsmith, and in the gold column is what he refers to as mojo, and I love this because it's so easy to grasp. And he says we all have times when we show up for work in life with mojo, and times when we show up for work and life with no-jo. Mojo is that gold column. That's when you show up for work and you're like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to roll. I might be a little tired from the weekend, but I'm going to put in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. I'm going to try to be easy to get along with. I'm going to serve our customers with excellence. I'm grateful to have this job. I am wide awake and ready to roll. No-jo. I'm sure you all know some people who show up regularly for work and life with no-jo. No-jo is when someone walks into the office and it's, I'm here, but barely. Just give me the minimum amount of work, and I'm going to put in the minimal effort today just to get by while I'm complaining the whole time so I can go home and complain to my family and friends how miserable my life is. You know, one of the things that Marshall Goldsmith said that struck such a chord with me, he said, the problem when we show up for work in life with no Joe is essentially you're saying to the people around you, you know, I'd rather be anywhere than with you folks right now. You make my life miserable. I hate being around you. And ask yourself, is that the kind of message that you want to send? Which really gets to the question, well, then how do you live with mojo more often? I want to give you 2 quick strategies in the short time we have together to do that. And the first one is to recognize when you are getting grumpy. Raise your hand if you know when you are getting grumpy. Raise your hand if you know when people around you are getting grumpy. Some people, it's like they know they're getting grumpy and they're like, yes, let's go with it. Let's make everybody's life miserable around us. And it's almost like they just, you know, hey, let's go with it. I encourage you the next time you start feeling tired, grumpy, overwhelmed, irritable, to stop and ask yourself one critical question. What is it that I need right now? What is it I need to be at my best that I'm not getting right now? Do I need a good night's sleep tonight? Do I need to go out and take a walk? Do I need a girls' night out? Do I need a guys' night out? What is it that I need? We had an example of this. My husband Chris and I, we live in northern Iowa. We've been together for 27 years. We have 3 sons, 21, 19, and 15, all boys. So we have a lot of testosterone in our house. And for years we've gone to Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri for a week in the summer, and we stay right on the lake in a condo. And I remember vividly a few summers ago, I woke up on the 4th day of our vacation, turned to my beloved husband and said, I could take somebody's head off this morning. And he said, what's going on? I said, for 3 days, we have done the guy things. We've done the jet skis, we've done the fishing, we've done the go-karts, we've done the video game store. I said, there are outlet malls 1 mile that way, and I've not stepped my foot in them yet. And he dangled the car keys and said, hey, go have some fun, we'll see you later. Now, 20 years ago, I would have said, oh, that's so selfish to do that. I don't view that at all. I view like as a professional woman, as a wife and mom, I have some responsibility, rather than just saying, I'm grumpy and I'm going to go with it, to say, what is it that I need to improve myself? Second strategy I want to teach, and a massage is always a really good thing. We have these squirrels in Algona. It's the most amazing things. Come visit us sometime. All right, second thing I want to talk about is having a growth mindset, not a fixed one. I want you to raise your hand if you've ever spoken these words in your life, and I want you to be honest. Raise your hand if you have ever spoken these words out loud. I suck at math. Who said it? I suck at math. Now raise your hand. Hank, that was you? I'm frightened. All right. Raise your hand if you've ever spoken those words, I suck at math, in front of your children or your grandchildren. Someone tell me, why is that a very, very bad idea to speak these words in front of your children or grandchildren? Yet they're going to say, I got the sucky math gene from mom. It was inherited. Researchers tell us, Carol Dweck of Stanford tells us that people tend to have either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset in life. A fixed mindset is correlated with people who have less happiness in life, lesser quality relationships, they make less money, they have less success in career, they don't advance as much in their life. A growth mindset, her well-respected research shows, is correlated with people who make more money in their lifetime, they're more successful, they have better quality relationships, more joy, happiness, everything. What's a fixed mindset? A fixed mindset basically says, I suck at math, I was born sucking at math, and I will suck at math until the day that I die. A fixed mindset says, I've had problems with drugs and alcohol in the past, therefore it is going to haunt me until the day that I die. A fixed mindset says, I've had bad relationships in my past, therefore I will never have a loving, nurturing relationship in my life. They believe they're fixed, they're stuck there. A growth mindset says this, yeah, I know I've had problems with drugs and alcohol in the past, but I'm working a program now, and I've got better people surrounding me, and I have a bright future ahead. A growth mindset says, I've had some bad relationships in the past, but I'm making much better choices. I've learned from those. I'm making choices about who I'm letting in my inner circle. I know I have a loving, really nurturing relationship ahead in my life. How powerful is the growth mindset? Well, Stanford researchers took 7th grade students who they would say they sucked at math. They really struggled with math. And without the teachers knowing, at the start of the school year, they pulled aside a number of them. Teachers didn't know anyone had been chosen. And they just spent 2 hours, that was it, at the start of the school year, teaching them to have a growth mindset. They said to these students, how do you do at math? And they said, we're terrible at math. And they said, well, how about Guitar Hero, the video game, if you played the Guitar Hero? How do you do at Guitar Hero? Oh, we're good at Guitar Hero. Well, what about the first time you played Guitar Hero? Well, I sucked at Guitar Hero. They said, well, how'd you get better? Well, I played it all the time. We were doing these all-night video game parties, and pretty soon, I was beating everybody in Guitar Hero. And they said, did you know that you could do that in math as well? If you spent 10, 15 minutes every night asking questions of the teachers, getting help if you needed it, you could become quite a good math student over time. And the student said, you mean I don't have to suck at math? No, you don't have to. At the end of the year with the teachers not knowing any students had been chosen, they were able to point to these particular students in the grade book and say, I don't know what happened, but these students' math achievement went through the roof, far beyond what I expected. That's having a growth mindset. Think of that next time you're at work and the next new technology comes. Are you saying to yourself and to your team, oh man, we suck at technology, the world's gonna end? Are you saying, you know what, this is not our first rodeo. We are strong, capable people. We can handle this thing. We're as smart as the next guy. Well, I'm going to wrap up here because I see my time's dwindling away quickly with learn to enjoy the glazed donut. Kind of a nice little closing lesson for life. Researchers did a study where they took people at the start of the day and they assessed their level of happiness in life. Then they brought them into a room with a large buffet table. Picture every kind of dessert you could possibly want to eat, from the tiramisu to your chocolate cake, to your apple pie, a la mode, your cheesecake, and all this. And they said, rate each dessert according to how much you want to eat that dessert. And each person put down. So researchers knew which dessert they wanted to eat the most. Then they said, here's the dessert you're actually getting. And they purposefully gave the participants one of their least favorite desserts, something like the lowly glazed donut that barely qualifies as a dessert. No offense to any of you who love glazed donuts. Least happy people in the world, they're used to getting the shaft, nothing ever goes my way, and they hand them the glazed donut that they didn't want. How did they respond? Oh man, as usual, I suppose Hank got the tiramisu and I'm stuck over here with a crappy glazed donut. What about the most happy people in the room? Wasn't their favorite dessert, but they tend to view things on the bright side. What did they say? Thank you. The researchers said they actually rated the dessert more highly after they had been given it. They said things like, honey, this is one dang good glazed donut. I didn't even know I like these things. We need to purchase these things. They're good. And they likened the lesson to all of us in your life. I don't know how many of you, but I don't always get my first choice in life. I may not be living in the perfect home, driving the perfect automobile, with the perfect husband, and the perfect 3 young adult sons doing perfectly what I want them to do all the time. But there is something about resilient people who can recalculate well and remain happy that says, you know what? I could learn to make this house a home. This may not be the perfect position for me in my life right now, but I could make a big difference in people's lives. These children aren't geniuses, but I could sure develop them into creative, loving, responsible adults. You learn to enjoy the glazed donut. Thank you so much for your great attention. It's my privilege to be here.